Good evening and a happy Independence Day to all our viewers. Tonight on Face to Face, I have with me Mr. Ranjth Perera, who is an interesting kind of artist in that he is a narrative realist. Good evening and welcome to you, Ranjth.
Good evening to you, sir.
You are an interesting artist. I've looked at your paintings,
Yeah,
and they're quite remarkable.
thank you.
And you are going to have yet another exhibition starting tomorrow in Colombo. And I'd like you to tell us about the exhibition first, and then we'll talk about the type of work that you do with these paintings.
Yeah, the exhibition is now at the Curado Gallery in Colombo, and I'm offering my paintings, about 30 odd paintings there to be viewed, and with some about 10-15 years ago work which revolves around that time. So
Right.
that all those will be presented then. That's on this on the 5th.
Right, and this is at the Curado Art Gallery,
Gallery,
on
yeah.
Park Road, which is, and I believe your exhibition, although it's opening on Thursday, tomorrow,
Yeah.
it will run for several days. I think from the 6th to the 12th.
for the public. Yeah,
Right, and of course open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
that's right. Yes.
Now, Ranjth, you call yourself a narrative realist. And for the benefit of our viewers who are not so well versed in art,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
I like to depict the art in a real form and as I see it, and I have been concentrating mostly on trying to show what, and also I go back to my memory bank and to show something which existed at a particular period of time. So I tell that story because it relates back to the period that I remember this place as it was. Because since the advent of that time, now the things have changed, and you find big, lovely old buildings with a lot of they are camouflaged because of the billboards and things like that. Some people even won't recognize where this is. So this is why I want to show the people, and this is what it was like in certain good old days. So I had to do a lot of research for that time to bring that kind of attire, the kind of vehicles they used at that time. So I tell a story about the time that it was. And the building still exists, but they're sort of like hidden now.
Right. In fact, your exhibition is called Echoes of Life, Narrative Realism.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. And you've been an artist for quite some time, more than 30 years now, but you actually got into this at a later stage in life. And how did that happen? Because as I understand it, in your school days at Trinity College in Canby,
right. Yeah.
you did do a lot of art in school, but then you stopped. Why was that? What happened?
Yeah, because then from college came the university, and 4 years of my life there, and I couldn't do much art. And interestingly, I just couldn't, there was no time for it. And then after leaving university, it was the job that I was in, and I was an auctioneer and broker, and I was in the rubber industry, and work used to be terrific, and we just didn't have any time at all for us, and it was hectic work, and I continued in that vein and got on the board, and thereafter had almost a premature retirement, and that led me to indulge in my favorite pastime, and I was so happy to not to continue the full quota of time for me, and that when I look back, I'm very happy about it, that I got this opportunity to really get into art.
Now, you mentioned your university days, and that was the University of Peradeniya, I believe,
Yes.
where you read for a degree in economics, Western history, and geography.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you joined Forbes and Walker,
Yes.
which, of course,
for a brief time I was teaching at Aquinas University.
Oh,
for a very
right.
brief time, and then I joined Forbes.
Okay. So Forbes, of course, is one of the most well-known brokerage firms, and you were in the rubber section.
Yeah.
And I suppose you must have spent a quarter of a century there, and you didn't have the time to work on your art. That's such a pity, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's very sad. And,
but did you not want to get into art at that point?
The thing was, it was economically not viable to get into a field like art unless you are a terrific artist who known, some people they've been lucky, and they have been, from their small days they have been groomed to be artists, and so you have to weigh your options and think, what are you going to be? Will I sustain my family with art? Or
Now, one of the things that a lot of people have trouble with is when they retire, at whatever age that may be, they sort of lose their sense of purpose. People who spend a lifetime working in a particular profession, and then they suddenly find they are no longer in that, they are at home, perhaps their children have left and gone overseas or whatever, and then such retired persons often lose their way because they don't have anything to occupy their days with. But you have certainly found or rediscovered or gone back to your first love as a vocation.
I know. My advice to people like that is, go and do something that you like to do in the, otherwise you're going to ask for a lot of punishment from your health angle. So this is like meditation for me. I look forward to the 4-5 hours of painting that I do every day. I get up happy knowing that I have to complete this picture. I'm into this. More exciting ideas come. And then it is terrific. You have to do something after retirement. You can't just, otherwise you become a nuisance to everyone. So,
So at what time of day do you do your painting? Is it in the morning sessions?
The two types of lights. In the morning, the light is bright, and it's nice to paint certain kinds of pictures. You get a lot of. And in the evening, the light is mellow and very soft, and then it requires, you can paint a different kind of picture at that time, like if you are doing landscapes, and so it's a little couple of hours in the morning and a couple of hours in the evening. That is my daily routine.
Right. So it's daily that you do this.
Unless I like to watch sports. If there is a rugby match or cricket match, I postpone my work and go and attend to that.
Of course, you're a Trinitian, so definitely rugby and cricket. And you played rugby to a certain extent, didn't you?
Most of my rugby I played in the university, and we were in the Clifford Cup and things like that. At that time, we had to meet sides like CR Havelocks, and we used to get thrashed, but enjoy the matches, enjoy the food that is given to us by the planters.
Right. Now let's talk about your exhibitions. And you have had exhibitions over the past, I suppose, quarter of a century at the Lionel Wendt and so on.
That's right. I had about 5 exhibitions at the Lionel Wendt. And then I exhibited, that's the only place I exhibited. And then I couldn't exhibit at the art gallery, but Lionel Wendt was, they offered lots of concessions to the artist, as a nominal charge, and the lighting was good and everything was nice about that place. And then I stopped exhibiting, and I have clients all over the world who commission me for art. They came to see me, and they heard about my art and they bought from me, and then thereafter they commissioned me, and still they commission me.
Right. So that in itself is quite a success, that you are known, your art is known around the world, especially by private individuals. So it's word of mouth getting around.
That's right.
But on the other hand, I would put it to you that because you haven't had any recent exhibitions, Sri Lanka has lost your art. The pleasure of seeing your paintings.
I know, you got a point there, but something just didn't. But I was going from place. My daughter lives in UK, and we used to, for long periods of time, be with her, and so I was shuttling up and down and couldn't bring myself to have another exhibition, and I thought I'll continue in that vein. And
well, I'm sure the art lovers in Colombo will be quite happy that you are exhibiting from tomorrow at Curado. Right. Now let's talk about one particular painting of yours, which was 100 years of rubber tapping. That was the that was what it was called, and it was in 2018, and it was for the centenary of the Colombo Rubber Traders Association.
Yeah, that's right. And it came under the hammer. It was
auctioned off.
It was what they call it, an American auction.
Right.
That this was for charity work. For rubber tappers are very sort of like not so well off as maybe another industry. For instance, tea, but rubber tappers are so poorly, and their children had to be educated. So it was to buy scholarships for them.
Right.
That we had this, they decided on this American auction, and the rubber traders, who are still in touch with me because I'm one of the most senior there who's living and still living. So they asked me to do this work for them. So I volunteered to do that. I was very happy to do that for them. It took me about a couple of months to do it anyway. And the auction was and everybody was participating in it, and they got this huge sum of money for that.
Yes, in fact, I think it was auctioned off for 3 million rupees.
Yeah, 3 million rupees, because at that time it was a good price.
And this is 2018, so the rupee was worth a lot more than what it is now.
Prices have changed now, so...
Right. And you have had your work exhibited on several global online platforms as well, Saatchi Art, and I think the Fidan Art platforms. So that's quite prestigious in itself, to have your work featured there.
Yeah, that's I'm happy to have had that opportunity. And I must thank my daughter. She is the one who is basically behind all these things, because I don't even own a mobile phone. And for that matter,
You're quite lucky, I would say.
because that will impinge into my time.
Exactly.
One phone is enough for the whole house. I think my wife has one, so she does all the work with that, and I'm just without that. I'm very happy without that.
You don't have to be bothered by
No, my God.
constantly ringing mobile
Not this
phones.
day and age where everybody doesn't even look at each other. They're on the phones.
Right. Now, let's talk about the type of art that you do, which is mainly oil on canvas, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Why? Why did you pick oil on canvas
Yeah,
and not
because
another?
oil painting has a quality of its own. And of course, I had to do color studies first. I start with color studies with the watercolor helps me in that area, and then I have those things for reference. And then I get on to drawing the thing with charcoal and outlining those things with, briefly before I paint. So oil gives a certain a kind of depth to the picture. That is why it has been popular for so many years. Oil is, over the period of time, the painting gathers a certain kind of quality that, that only oil paintings can, it's amazing. You have to dabble in it and then make the mistakes you make initially, then you have to conquer the oil and get the oil to do what you want to do. So that is why oils that I use oils. It takes a lot of drying time, but oils are the best for my kind of art.
Right, but you also use charcoal.
I use charcoal. I love charcoal because that too gives depth. And for portraits and figures and things like that, charcoal is amazing. I mean, you get some people really like charcoal drawings.
Right. You have described your work as documenting the dignity of ordinary life in Sri Lanka. Would you like to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, because sometimes, I used to travel a lot in India when my daughter was in medical school in Manipal, and I used to photograph these street urchins. I mean, I saw certain beauty in them, in their eyes, and they were poor, but the way they smile, that really captured my heart, and even the old folks, so I really love to do them, and I think they are essence of our earth, our people. That's one thing that fascinated me, doing portraits of children and old people, sort of like, they smile at you, and however humble and however poor they are sort of, their eyes twinkle sometimes. There's a twinkle in their eyes, which I like to capture those moods in them,
One of the things that struck me about your paintings is the eyes of the subjects, the children and even the animals. Viewer is always drawn to the face and the eyes because you have read it in such a striking fashion.
Yes, because I love to concentrate on the eyes, because they say even if a person is lying, the eyes won't lie. They reflect a certain kind of truth in the, it is fascinating. I have found it fascinating. The eyes tell a story.
Interesting. But you have, apart from these portraits, you also capture a lot of architecture, wildlife, heritage, and so on. So that's quite a wide range. But what do you like to portray best?
I like to portray people, but I'm also, we have very little limited time for us now. So I'm, desperately trying to do I inculcate some things into the art that I do, the buildings. I tell a story. I narrate something. I have done eye hospital. I did that, and then one of my doctor friends used to say I used to work there, and he showed some room where on the. So it means various things to various people, and I from the stories I heard, I put all those characters. So I'm happy because I'm not painting characters themselves, but I'm portraying them, putting them into my paintings. It's like the Afghan moneylender, always in 1953, that time people there were banks were not lending too much money. Lots of people, maybe the middle class, and they went to these Afghan moneylenders.
Right.
And they used to hover around these places, they were the best debt collectors you can ever get. So then the rickshaw coolie, the rickshaw-man, and the kind of transport they had, the old cars and the old vintage cars. Fascinating that way they dressed. The old constable used to be in shorts. Only now they objected to that, I think, and they wanted to be smarter and got into lawns now. But the old constabulary was, they used to wear shorts and a funny kind of Spanish kind of hat. So all these characters I like to build into my, it's not merely the building alone, but it's something to do with what happened there,
The culture, the society as it was.
Society, what was there at that time.
Right. We have to take a short break now. I am with Ranjth Perera, who is an artist and a narrative realist. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
මම තමයි ඔයාලගේ අනාගතය.
වාද සභාවත් ටිකක් මේ දේශපාලන වේදිකාවක් වගේ.
ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදීභාවය අමුමම උල්ලංඝනය වෙන මාතර නිමිතුනේ.
කොහොමද පරමාධිපති බලය අහිමි වෙන්නේ කියලා මම පැහැදිලි කරන්නම්.
රංගන ශිල්පිනියන් ඉන්නවනේ. පඩිගේ වැල්ල නළුව දාමුක මෙතෙන්ට. සරලවම කිව්වොත් ගොවියට කුඹුරට ගහන්න තෙල් ටික නැති ප්‍රශ්නේ ඉඳන් දරු යුතුනේ.
Sirasa Debater with AAT Sri Lanka.
ඉරිදා සවස 6ට.
රෑ තිස්සේ චැට් කරනවා පේනවා. මං එනකොට නතර කරනවා. මොකක් හරි වරයක් තියෙනවා.
සුමේදා කිව්වොත් කියන්නේ අපි අතර තියෙන සම්බන්ධයක් ගැන. වාසිත ඔයාගෙන් අපි වාසුලිගෙන් නේද?
අපිට කෙලින්ම චෝදනා කරන්න බැරි නිසා තමයි වාසුලිගේ පැත්තෙන් දාලා ඔය ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්නේ.
උරුට කලබල වෙන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න. අපේ අයියාවට පස්සේ ඔය හැමෝගෙම ජීවිත ටික ටික හරි වෙනස් වෙනවා.
කොටෝ අද රාත්‍රී 9:30ට සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්.
Welcome back to Face to Face. I am with Mr. Ranjth Perera, who is an artist, a narrative realist, who will be having an exhibition starting tomorrow at the Curado Art Space on Park Road. Ranjth, now we spoke about the fact that during your corporate career, you didn't have time for this passion of art.
That's
and then
right.
Basically when you retired, you took up art once again.
Yes.
After a long gap.
Yeah.
Who was it who helped you out? Who were your role models? Because after all, you needed some training as well.
That's true, and that was evident when I happened to browse around to see who are the people they were very competent people teaching art schools. So I went and I got to know about this lady. She's Nadine David, and to this date I'm very grateful to her because she taught me every little thing that she knew.
And all the
techniques because which she had learned from David Painter, renowned artist in Sri Lanka, and she had gone to the Haywood Art School. It was known as Haywood those days in Colombo 7. And she was she just taught me every little thing, and she she used to tell me, Ranjith, I want you to be a good artist, not an artist, but I want you to be a good artist. So she gave her wholehearted support to me, and it was, I'm very grateful to her.
Now, you mentioned that Nadine David had learnt under David Painter.
Yes.
But David Painter was one of your childhood idols in
yes, David
painting.
was, I was a small boy. I would have been about 10 or 11 or 12 years old. I was in the boarding, and then I used to just
at Trinity College.
At Trinity College, and we used to just run around on Saturdays. I used to go to the college chapel, which is not like it's an open chapel, and it was built by some of I think some of the pioneers like Senior and Mr. Campbell, and who used to many years ago, and it was done in the Candian style, and it had columns and no walls too, it was open. So David, from time to time, he was alive at that time, David had to restructure the whole paintings, restructure in the sense, touch up those paintings, because the elements were against the college chapel paintings, because it was open, and dust and air and various things, the paintings were getting sort of like, it was difficult, not like
right, a little bit of decay.
Now, for instance, the St. Thomas's College chapel murals that were painted by David, it didn't need any restructuring or repainting or anything like that. So I used to see him on a scaffold doing this, and amazing how this came back to me in a roundabout way, to get hold of Nadine, who's a pupil of David Painter's, and then who taught me everything.
Now, in your exhibition, which is starting tomorrow, how many paintings are you going to exhibit?
I have about around 30 paintings. Some are fairly big and some are average size, and just a handful of charcoal drawings.
Right, and of course Newsfirst will be covering your exhibition, so our viewers, if they are not able to come to your exhibition, can certainly catch it on our many news platforms. Right, now let's talk about, as a veteran artist, what is your opinion of contemporary Sri Lankan art, the art scene? Has it improved over the years?
I should say it has, by leaps and bounds, it has got into a real, people are into this now, and they are churning out some very nice pictures. They may be contemporary, but art is different to different people, but somebody likes contemporary won't like the traditional, intelligently depicting certain things that are currently happening, and it's very nice. The kind of the collages they do, and the kind of thing the colors they use, and so I'm very happy that there are lots of contemporary artists now doing very catchy, very fascinating subjects.
And do you think that youngsters nowadays have a lot more opportunities to get into art than you did back then?
Yeah, youngsters should, but my advice to the youngsters is learn a little basics also. People like famous artists like Picasso, they were abstract artists, they were contemporary abstract, and they were radicals, but they did their basics first, fundamentals. It's that is my advice. Do at least a little bit of the basics.
Right. Now, Ranjith, tell me a little bit about what you feel about the art galleries that we have in Colombo, especially. Early days, we had the Lionel Went, of course.
Yeah, and there are earlier there was this art gallery, Kala Bhavana. That was the only, and even before, I think, even before Lionel went, and those were the only two areas where artists could exhibit. So by having more galleries, now we have Barefoot Gallery, we have Shant Fernando's place, and Saskia Fernando Gallery, and so many galleries which are actually helping a lot of artists. Promoting. We have some fabulous talent in Sri Lanka, and I'm a member of the art gallery here, and I used to chat with the guys who are exhibiting on the road, and they tell me, sir, we don't have money for this, to buy paints, and we have to, because the talent is fabulous. I mean, if you can help them out, and so these art galleries probably will be promoting some of those things, I think, for them also, to helping them so that they could further their art and buy the material that is required. So that's a big thing, that there are several galleries in Sri Lanka now.
Right. Excellent.
That's I'm very happy because of that. I mean, there is another one in Chatham Street now, I think the Radical Gallery or some gallery like that, and it's very good for the artists, up and coming artists.
And do you feel that perhaps the government can better support artists as well? Because Sri Lanka needs to develop its cultural
yes, that's Sri Lanka thrives on this cultural heritage we have. What don't we have here? And we can move around quickly even for tourism and things like that. This is a huge boost, because we have Anuradhapura to Kandy to Nuwara to Galle within a couple of hours, unlike in other places. So if you promote artists to be involved with such areas and such, give them the incentives, I think probably we will reap benefits out of this, because there's so many. I mean, Dambula Vihara, Sigiri, everywhere. I mean, it's so amazing if you can promote that even in art form.
Right. I mean, Sri Lanka, I know, is a photographer's dream, but it's also an artist's dream, isn't it?
That's true. It's it's photography. It's certainly photography is, that helps. But, the artist must, is something different, it's, your efforts go into it, and but the photographer can't show, the artist can show in certain things, yes. The great artists, like Leonardo, they never had this photography. But the Last Supper, the hands of Judas, he studied it in the marketplace. The Judas hands, the Last Supper, the hands that he drew was after several studies, going to the marketplace and observing vendors, selling things, amazing. There was no photography at that time.
Right. There is so much more depth to
and
picture
feeling,
when it
and
is
feeling,
art.
yeah, and feeling towards when you do art. Photographers, they are fantastic, but you just click and then you have to click for months.
Right. So we're almost out of time, and just a reminder that you can come and see Mr. Ranjth Perera's Echoes of Life Narrative Realism exhibition at the Curado Art Space on Park Road. Starting, the opening is tomorrow evening, but it's open to the public from Friday, that is the 6th of February, and it goes on until the 12th of February from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you can also learn more about Mr. Ranjth Perera at ranjthperera.com. So you can certainly log in there and learn more about him and his work over the years. So thank you very much to our viewers for watching. And thank you very much, Ranjth, for taking the time to be with us. All the very best with your exhibition and many more exhibitions to come.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.